Aloha everyone, welcome to part 4 of Knuckles Chaotix. We are back at the hub world and you notice it turned nighttime. One thing I never actually mentioned yet during this whole LP, the levels are constantly changing weather-wise because there's actually a day cycle going on that I kind of enjoy. It's like the more levels you play, the more daytime and nighttime change, right? And as far as I know, this isn't anything related to gameplay time. I think it's just the amount of levels you play. I could be wrong. Hopefully I'm not. But, and if I am, I'm sure my fans will tell me. But basically, because it's nighttime right now, the hub world changes its theme song, and there's obviously nighttime outside. And when I go to the next level, which is Techno Tower, there's going to be a nighttime presence in Techno Tower. So actually, the background of the levels changes depending on what levels you do in what order. So I remember the first time I did Mirena Madness, the first time I ever played that, it was daytime. And then I was a little bit shocked and off-put when I did this LP, and the first time I did Mirena Madness for the first level, it was a different color, because the sun was different, right? There's little touches like that make Knuckles Chaotix kind of interesting visually, you know? There's no reason for them putting in a daytime, nighttime thing other than, you know, it's cool and it gets people talking. I mean, as far as I know, nothing in the levels is affected. And by the way, there's the wall kicking thing that people kept talking about. Yeah. I had to re-record half this whole game just because of that damn Mighty discussion. I hope you're happy. There's your Mighty, goddammit. And yes, people are all too great to tell me that Mighty was supposedly one of the original designs for what was supposed to be Sonic the Hedgehog at first when Sega was coming up with the character. But then Mighty became his own character, and, you know, whoop-de-freaking-do. Whoop-de-freaking-do. A lot of people are wrong about one thing, though. Mighty, no one owns the rights to Mighty's character and has to, like, pay way too much for him to be in the Chaotix. They could bring back Mighty if they damn well wanted. Mighty is still mentioned, and you can still, like, hear about him from, like, the Sega website or whatever. Like, there's no copyright on Mighty. Not at all. He wouldn't be in the Sonic Archie comics if he was copyrighted by one specific person. I'm sorry, but that's bullshit. Bullshit, I say. But I digress. That was Mighty's wall kick feature. You can basically climb up the wall that way, but news to me. So yeah, we're back in Amazing Arena, the labyrinthy, boring-ass level with Espio the Chameleon. Espio the Chameleon being one of my favorite characters in the Chaotix, mainly because he's a stoic ninja type, and, you know, there's something badass about it. You gotta love Espio. I guess. I wonder how annoying it is playing two players with a Charmy player. The thought just occurred to me as we were watching this video because, you know, again, I mentioned this before, but you can play Knuckles Chaotix in two-player mode, so that both characters are being controlled by two different people at the exact same time, and I'm sure that's a fun way to play Knuckles Chaotix. I know it's a shame I'm not going to be doing it in this playthrough, but, you know. But it makes me wonder, it really does. What's it like playing with Charmy? Is the second person playing as Charmy just abusing the hell out of it and not letting his friend do anything remotely fun, or what? I don't know. I just imagine it can't be that pleasant being a Charmy friend, you know? I mean, it's great if you are Charmy. In that case, you're just playing the level however, but if you're not Charmy, it's a pain in the ass. Has to be. There's him climbing the ceiling of the platform I was just on. I don't climb ceilings much with Espio. There's not really much of an occasion to climb the ceiling. I mean, it's a nice little thing he can do, but it's never really necessary for any kind of situation, you know. But still, he can climb the ceilings, and I wanted to show it off at least once. I'm sure I show it off later in this LP anyway, but, you know. It just needed to be said. It needed to be said. And that was a surprisingly short level of Amazing Arena. Most of them take forever, and this one was a lot more manageable. I was surprised when I first beat it. Then again, I did miss the light, so I did have to rebeat it again, because again, I mentioned this in part 3, but if you don't hit the light, you're not going anywhere. You don't get to pass the level, basically. And oh yay, we're back in Amazing Arena for a 4th time! I'm sorry, folks. I hate the buttons thing, you know? I just want to hit it and get this game over with, and I guess I could specifically time it so that I don't have to play Amazing Arena first, but you know, I don't do that. I just get on with it, as most people should. And Amazing Arena just happens to be picked a lot, right in the beginning, I don't know why. I mean, I'm gonna have to play it no matter what, but you know, I still don't want to. I know I make this level look really quick and easy and simple, and there's the cool charmy cannonball thing I was talking about. You can fly around and have your character be like a big wrecking ball, so you can just destroy everything that flies in contact with you. It's awesome. But it makes the game way too easy, but you know, it's still awesome. Yeah, I don't even have to try with charmy, I'm just flying wherever the hell I want. It's crazy. I'm not as enthused to talk about my commentary today, but I am going to, since I don't really have a big, busy schedule anymore. Or I have a really big, busy schedule lately, is what I meant to say. That's what's been the lack of updates for a while, folks. It's basically because, you know, I got a new job that requires me to work late nights, and I hang out with my friends a lot, and I'm doing Christmas shopping right now, because it's Christmas time, as you know, ho ho ho, or you know, Happy Kwanzaa, or Happy Hanukkah. I don't know what you celebrate. But anyway, I guess I'll get back to that. This is the Eggman mini-boss thing that is actually in every level of Amazing Arena, as far as I know. It just, there are alternate pathways in the levels, so that you don't have to fight the mini Eggman robot all the time. It is a very simple boss fight, though. You only have to hit the Eggman head twice, and it's over. Since I was charmy, I could fly up to it no problem. But if you're not charmy and you want to end the boss real quickly, basically what you want to do is have your character pick up your partner, which you can do by moving up to him and pushing the B button. I did it in the intro level when I was trying to manipulate Espio and Knuckles onto those platforms. But you can pick up your partner and then throw them upwards into Eggman's robo-face. And then when you hit it once, you just pick him up, throw him again, hit him for the second time, and the mini Eggman robot thing will be destroyed. Because that's how we roll. Techno Tower again! Like I said, each level has 5 acts, and when you clear the 5th act, that's it. The level is gone for good, and you'll never be able to pick it again. So don't worry, we're almost done Techno Tower and Amazing Arena. I'm sure you're getting bored of these levels already, like I tend to be sometimes. But, you know. And I swear, Techno Tower is like one of the most least interesting level designs ever, because it's like every time you play this level, it always has the same kind of motion. It always starts off with an elevator that takes you upwards. It always ends up you going to the right and doing a lot of crazy fast spins up and down, which I'm not complaining. I love going super fast and hitting those loops. But I swear, it's like all 5 acts, well, maybe not the 5th act, but all 4 previous to the 5th act are like that, and it makes Techno Tower really boring. Really, really boring to play. Just because, you know, we saw this in the first 3 acts, and now we're doing it for a 4th time, and it doesn't seem that different. It seems like the same level every time you play it. I mean, yeah, they did change a few things here and there, but it's like literally the same thing. Either the designers of this game just got really lazy and they didn't want to put in that much effort because they wanted to get a launch title for the 32X, I can imagine that. I mean, when you make a launch title for any console, I'm sure you're always rushed to make it. I don't care if it's a 360 or the Wii, it's like, you know, when they tell you, hey, we're making this new Nintendo Wii everyone's going to be crazy about with motion controls. Want to half-ass a game for us? Sure, Nintendo, sure, we'll half-ass a game for you. Have Sonic and the Secret Rings. Oh, it's a shitty game? Sorry, it's the first Sonic game on the Wii. Can't blame us. That's my interpretation of why Sonic and the Secret Rings sucks so much. I can't get mad at that game like I do Sonic 06, because I understand it's the first Wii Motion Sonic game, and probably the first motion-controlled Sega game. So, you know. I didn't like Sonic and the Secret Rings at all. In fact, I briefly talked about why in my Knuckles playthrough of Sonic 3 and Knuckles, because I was going over all the 3D games. But Sonic and the Secret Rings I just really hated because the controls just don't work for it at all. In order to go backwards in Sonic and the Secret Rings, you have to tilt your Wiimote backwards, and that is so awkward to do. And sometimes I just felt like I should have been going backwards when I didn't, or I should be going forwards when I'm not. And Sonic and the Secret Rings just has this very awkward control scheme. It has a very clumsy, boring mission. Like, all the levels are broken off into weird mission chapters, which just gets repetitive when you're just going in and out of the level over and over and over again, instead of doing, you know, normal levels and stuff. The final boss is ridiculously way too hard. I still can only beat it when I'm lucky. I can never do it by skill alone, or, you know... It's a pain in the ass. Just terrible. I don't like Sonic and the Secret Rings at all. I don't know why anyone would like Sonic and the Secret Rings, quite honestly, but, you know. We're not talking about Sonic and the Secret Rings, though, are we? We're talking about Knuckles Chaotix. The good news is, folks, this is going to be the last time we ever see Amazing Arena, because we're on the 5th stage of Amazing Arena. And one thing I didn't mention before is that all 5th stages of the 5 levels are an Eggman boss fight. So basically, that means that when you get to the 5th stage, at the end we're going to be facing off with Eggman in one of his various robo-contraptions, which means we're going to get our first proper boss fight in this game, thank God. They're not exactly challenging or anything, but, well, you'll see. It's just nice to have something different going on, and that we're no longer doing Amazing Arena, thank God. But anyway, my whole Sonic and the Secret Rings spiel came basically from the fact that Techno Tower seems to have a very... They didn't seem to change it up with each level, you know? Like, you could say the way the level's laid out in Amazing Arena is different every time you jump into Amazing Arena. But when you try Techno Tower, it's like the first 4 levels are like almost exactly the same. They all end up exactly the same. Take an elevator up, do a whole bunch of loop-de-loops at the very right, climb the tower, win the tower. The end. I don't know. It's just, you know, this is a launch title for the 32X, Sega's 32X, which, you know, was unnecessary since they were working on the Saturn, and the Saturn would come out less than a year later. But, you know, I'm just saying maybe Knuckles Chaotix didn't have a big work time to be made. That would explain a lot of the fact that you're playing the same level 5 times, essentially, because they didn't have enough themes or something. I don't know. I don't know the development story behind Knuckles Chaotix. I'm just assuming that because it's a launch title for the 32X, they didn't really have much time to work on it or work with the specifics, and they didn't do a good job. You know, they didn't have enough time, let's just say that. I think they did it pretty good with what they had, though, so I'm not going to fault the game for that. But yeah, that's how you beat the Eggman robot proper if you're not Charmy. You just pick up your partner, throw the partner at the Eggman head, and it's as good as gravy. That's the most awkwardly placed spring, by the way. You can't climb up it if you're Knuckles, and you gotta let your partner get up there somehow. It's retarded, but, you know. Knuckles Chaotix is not the greatest game in the series, folks. I'm not gonna lie. It's not the best Sonic game ever made, but I do think it has a certain charm to it, and I still like it for what it is, you know? I can understand why people hate it, but I still think it's, you know, it's unique. It's something different, and it's not horribly terrible. Oh boy. Yeah, every Eggman boss fight has a cool little animation that precedes him, which I think is pretty neat. I mean, that's not an awesome animation at all, but it's at least a scene that happens, you know? But folks, we're at the boss fight of Dr. Eggman at Amazing Arena, and Dr. Eggman, well, his whole gimmick is... he has these ball arms that he swings at you. You can also spawn enemies. The enemies can be killed with one jump, and all you have to do to hit Eggman is throw your partner at him if he's too high, but generally he's low enough that you can jump into him as well, so it's not too bad. And it's a pretty simple boss fight, though. It's not too complicated. Just don't jump for the arms. Watch out for when he swings at you. He'll always swing where you were, so it's not hard to get out of the way. And it takes like 8 hits, and the robot is destroyed. Oh yeah, that wasn't hard at all. The Eggman boss fights are not the hardest things ever. They're pretty much like every other Eggman boss fight in any other Sonic game for the Genesis, but you know. Anyway, that's the first boss fight, and I'll see you in part 5. Toodles.